Hello people did that, how's I doing? Today I just want to talk about something that, I consider being my worst experience, I suppose, in my life. Taking aside my mental health issues and the rest that, mental health problems I had in the past. Obviously they were pretty bad, but this thing that I'm going to talk about, really bugged me for, of my young childhood, I suppose. And, that's because I'm dyslexic, obviously I'm sure people can very clearly see it. Um, and obviously my title's not the best. But anyway, who cares? It should the as long as you get the gist of it, so Jesus, shouldn't you be fine then? But so when I was younger, it was annoying. It annoyed me a lot, and that's something that really um affected me, I suppose. And the reason too, another thing too, the worst experience was when I went into national school. When people go to play school, a lot of everybody in my school went national school. Went to play school, and obviously knew each other from play school. Grew up for a few years in play school with them, with the people in my class, and I obviously was an outsider to them, which is understandable. But it's not like it was in a different village; it was in the same village, but never socialised. If that makes any sense. When I was younger, when I was a small infant, couldn't talk or anything like that, and for one that age, I couldn't. I was very awkward as a young person. I was very shy. That's the word to use. And awkward. That's the I'm still awkward, but what about it? Um, but yeah, it was difficult. Difficult. I'm not going to say that it was hard. Mixing took me years and years to mix in. Probably took until nearly second class before I even got comfortable. That's how long it takes me to adapt to something new. Especially a new school or something like that. It was a different experience. Obviously, didn't go to play school, so I was a complete outsider. Um, and it was new, and it was such a upsetting time, I suppose. And people knew a lot more. Like I had to learn my numbers. Um, but they knew the numbers and they knew the alphabet, they knew things like that. Obviously, my parents didn't have the time, and obviously they did because they were working at the time, but obviously they were getting on in the years when I was born, and obviously near retirement, and obviously they had health problems coming down the line too, which they had to retire from and everything like that. But it wasn't their fault. It was understandable. It was very hard times. Growing up in in the 2000s, early 2000s. It was very hard. We found it very hard to make ends meet sometimes. But got through it. But yeah, it was hard when you were young, and I still remember it. Feeling like in first, especially in first class, because I was behind everybody. And it's very obvious that I could have to admit it. Because the rest of them obviously knew when they went to play school, they learned the numbers, they learned a bit of maths. And I'm absolutely useless at maths. Still to this day, I'm absolutely useless. But what about it? As one TD says in this county, what about it? And what about it? If you're no good at it, then what about it? Simple as that. But yeah, it took a big effect on me when I was young, because you felt more stupider. Especially when you're young and you're opposite dyslexic, you're very intelligent. You have extreme intelligence, but you just kept pen to paper, and that's as simple as that. And it was hard. Like the rest of them could do up sums, and one day the teacher asked me, and I remember this. This is probably in junior senior reference, maybe junior reference. One of the senior, it was probably senior reference. The teacher asked us, write a few sums down, and write the answers. And stupid me, I didn't have a clue. And I was the only one didn't write anything down, and that felt very bad because the teacher came around and asked us. It was very upset. His teacher had nothing to contribute, and that was something that still sticks with me because it made me look very bad and made me look like the rest of my class didn't need extra help. Obviously, I needed a bit of extra help, and obviously at the time there was no such thing as extra helps. The schools, so some special needs teachers who could help, but my school was very small compared to other schools. Like if I grew up in Cavan Town or grew up in other big towns in Cavan, it would have probably been a lot more in a better position than even today. But it was hard. And that was hard for a long time, especially until nearly even got up to fifth class. That's the only time I started to accept, I was dyslexic. And they had, I couldn't do as much as other people. And that's, it took me a long time. Like it took me up until then to officially accept it. It still bet myself up for a long time, but it kind of was one of the reasons too. It led to me, something when I met the how to. Oops, my pen. But that's to do with a lot of things. But that was one of the reasons why too, because it was a combined thing of everything. Everything just boiled up for the last, for a long, long time, and nothing was talked about, nothing was said, and nothing was done about it, and it was all boiled up, and eventually it was going to blow up anyway. And that did blow up. But I was at this fact, and I felt so bad. Being in class, because you have to obviously, I didn't do Irish. They tried to teach me Irish in junior reference and senior reference. That's another thing too. Some people in my class could speak Irish off the top of the head. I can say a one of Fian at the national anthem. I can say a prayer in Irish probably. But that's about it. Say a few Irish words, banya, milk, and and Dovis. So what is it? I can't think of the name for the door now. Look terrible now again. But anyway, I tried. Like a senior reference and junior reference, I tried. Teacher said it was too dumb. More or less, that's more or less what they classified me as. Too dumb. That simple as that was put to me. Well, not put to me, but put to my parents, put to the board of management of the school. It was too dumb. It was waste of resources. Teach me Irish and just let them just sit there and do nothing. And that's what happened for a few years. And eventually, I got they said you could do English, you could do a bit of extra English book and things like that. But it was hard. Like it's still to this day, I can't do Irish. And it's hard to say you can't do Irish, you can't do your national language. You think to yourself, what kind of an Irish person are you? But it's not really, and I've said this to many people, I've said to many patriots, they don't blame me for it, because I'm as Irish as they come, as they say. But I just can't speak Irish. Sometimes I can barely speak English. But I do my best to try and learn, but there's no point putting pressure on killing myself to learn it. Because I'm sure none of the people who wanted Irish, who fought for Irish freedom, I'm sure they wouldn't want you annoying yourself and killing yourself, for just to learn Irish. I would say to people, if you do have dyslexia and if you're willing to learn Irish, please do learn Irish. I would love to learn it. But it couldn't be done. As simple as that. It would take me years and years. Take me probably 30 years. Like even they said, and even they done a test for it. And the person said it would be really hopeless. More or less, they said it straight away. It'd be more or less hopeless. It'd be like you would have to be brought to week on week and week and week and just go over the same thing over and over again, because it just wouldn't go into my head. And simple as that. It was brought to 2 sessions and then said it was just pointless. So that's what happened there. But it was hard, because I was the only person who had some special needs issues. It was hard. It was difficult. And didn't get much support. That time, the teachers done the best. I'm not gonna lie, the teachers did do all they could, but the resources were very limited. Being a very small school at the time, and now it's a biggish school. But you done your best. That's all I done. I done my best in time. Obviously, it did affect me. Not knowing more than other people, not being as smart as other people. But I had more intelligence, if that makes any sense, or more common sense than anybody else in the class, and I suppose it was known as no wiser. But I suppose that's not bad to happen anything like that. But anyway, and then obviously went on to 5th class then. Done my bits and bobs. I found, I'm not gonna lie to people, I never really spoke about it much, but when I was in 6th class, very dark thoughts in some parts of in 1 or 2 parts of 6th class. Especially as soon as it came near the end and going towards the new school. Very, very dark thoughts. But we got past that, and obviously it didn't help. It probably would have helped if it would have just collapsed in that moment in time before summer that time. Then basically just push it along. Push it along even more, make it worse. And obviously when we phoned to my mental health breakdown, a few barely about 8 months, 7 months later. But yeah, it was hard. It's difficult. Especially because there was not many people from my school going to my new college. It was hard. It was difficult. It's only probably one person that went out of my whole class group. I didn't really talk to that person that much. It wasn't that connected with. But anyway, I wasn't really connected with anybody in my school. I wouldn't have BFF, if that makes any sense. I wouldn't be friends with them, but I would know people who talk to them. but I wouldn't be connected they'd probably be connected to the people in my class that I had in national school. They were great people. But they're probably more connected to each other than I am. I probably have I know one or two of them. I talk to them on Messenger and different things like that, and they still I still talk to them. But I'm not as connected as they are. I feel like I kind of lost touch with them altogether. But yeah, I suppose I suppose it's difficult. It's difficult to have somebody who's dyslexic, and obviously you have to deal with I think it's a blessing to have anybody that's needs a bit extra help. But some people do in this world. I haven't met so many people who've called me just names because they said I'm dyslexic and things like that. I met many people like that. And I've always said to them, if we were all the same, it'd be a very sad world. I know so many of them just wanting to shoot dyslexic people, murder dyslexic people, and it's pretty sad. Pretty sad that people think like that, but you can't do anything about it. But it's sad to see their mindset talking about that. Because it was a struggle. I'm not going to lie to people. It was a very big struggle to accept. I was dyslexic. Very big struggle. And obviously, going into 6th class too, going on to new school and knew nobody. Probably only knew 3 people. I had very little friends, and I have to be so honest with everybody. I had very, very little friends. Didn't contact anybody outside school. I had no friend. Never met up with really many friends outside school in 6th class, so I never talked to anybody about anything. Just basically was myself. One person standing alone. But that changed in first year. Thankfully, it turned out. For the first few months, it turned out all right, and everything went all right. I made friends, which was great. It was great, and I obviously connected with other people who had autism. Couldn't think of the word there. And obviously you connect with them, and obviously very connection with them, which is great. And it's great to have somebody to connect with. Which is it's great. It's great. We became great friends. We still are great friends with them people, and I still talk to them very often now, which is a great improvement. It didn't improve, everything improved. But it was kind of, as I said, 7 or 8 months, I can't remember, but it was early 2016, everything went downhill. Everything completely collapsed in on me, and obviously we all know the story. It took me a long time to recover after that. It probably haven't recovered, to be honest with people, probably was last year, probably last year, 2019, October 2019, where I fully recovered from my depression from 2016 to 2019, and that's really the time I started seeing everything pick up a bit in my life, which is great. But it took a long time. It took me a long time to get repair myself, I suppose you can say that. But it was difficult. Especially people probably talking behind your back. I said there was a good few women going behind my back. But people will talk, and people will talk with things, but at the end of the day, I'm a figure of my own self now because I've stood up, and very different. And I'm looking at myself back there, and I'm very, very different, Adrian. I think I've done extremely well. And I'm not good at maths. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at English. Cause some of the stuff we get homework. Now. And sure, Jesus, I can do some of it they can read, but there's a huge amount of it, and there's a huge amount of writing, and you can't take it all in, and that's the thing too about me. You can't take everything in, even news reports I read, there's a few pages here, there's a letter here I have to read. You don't get the full story, you get half of the story. It doesn't register in your head. I noticed that many times with me. I read half a page, and I can get 3 or 4 points, but then I forget the other 5. It doesn't register. There's only so much you can remember, especially my brain. Especially points and when you read something. I hear, if somebody said something to me, and somebody talked to me, I hear it 100 times, I hear you. I wouldn't even have to say it twice, because I know what I understand as soon as you say something to me. But that's much why I would rather call somebody than message somebody. Because I can hear them, and I know what they're talking about. I can know the sense of tone and everything that. But the message really is in the end of this too is you are who you are. If you're dyslexic, don't be afraid to say so, because I was afraid to admit it for a long time. And it is true, I am dyslexic, and it's not a lie. But dyslexia, you should be proud. You should be proud because you're more intelligent than the general population. Because people with autism and dyslexia are more intelligent, have more common sense and common knowledge, if that makes any sense. Then your fellow compatriots, fellow students, fellow things like that. Fellow things. How nice. Oh no, excuse me, sorry, inappropriate for school. But no, I'm just saying to people, like, don't be worried. Like, I was worrying over senseless things. And it didn't do me any good. It didn't do me any good because it didn't change that I was dyslexic. Obviously it did help me to admit I was dyslexic. But look at me now. I never thought it would be this far in life. Writing titles for videos, things like that, on my own. Probably doing a very bad job. But anyway, no, you are who you are. I'm saying to people, if you can go to, like I even say to parents, if you can go send your children to play school, please do. Because it gives them a bit of a head start before they go into primary school. Especially if they have social problems or it's interacting, or dyslexic or autism. But like I was saying to people, the world's our oyster. The only way is up. And the simple as that. Because we are who we are, and if people totally, some people still to this day probably won't accept me for me being dyslexic, and might say you shouldn't be alive and this crack and the other and the other crack and the other, because there's people out there who would say that to you. Like one message I got a few weeks ago, actually it's about 5 months ago maybe, and said you're dyslexic, you shouldn't be alive, you should be dead. Obviously very mean. I didn't report it, I just blocked the person. It's very mean, and I even said it back to him before I blocked him. Very mean. Because some people with dyslexia take that very harsh, and I do take things very harsh. But I talk about that maybe in another video. But I'm just saying to people, if you can send your child to play school, it would be the best option to do. Because it gives them a head start, gives them a small bit of a head start. But anyway, take care everybody, and hopefully you understood me for half, because maybe I was talking a bit of rubbish for a while, because I kind of went into my own trance. This is what happens when I'm telling a story. I go into my own trance and I forget. I might have said something 5 times and I might have forgot it, because I just remember. Like, I do always have to look forward to remember, the past. And then think about how you felt and everything. That's what I'm trying to do. And put myself back into the shoes I was in back then. But I think I remember everything. I don't think there's anything else I left out. I probably left out. I'll talk about my later school life soon. But thank you for watching, and subscribe more, and bye.